the top of the world, there's something you won't see in the triumphant summit photos. Corpses, hundreds of them, frozen for decades, scattered along the slopes, visible as if simply resting, but they're not sleeping, they're never waking up. On Mount Everest, many who climb never return, and the path to the summit has become a permanent, open-air graveyard. And the most disturbing part? They're still there, watching you pass. Subscribe to uncover why people risked their lives for the summit, and what we can learn from those who never came back. What happened? Since the first successful ascent in 1953 by Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay, over 11,000 people have reached the summit of Everest. But not everyone made it down. More than 340 climbers have died trying to conquer the world's highest peak. And what's even more haunting, about 200 of those bodies remain, perfectly preserved in the ice, lying in grotesque positions, sitting, collapsed, frozen with the gear they never got to use again. Above 8,000 meters, you enter what mountaineers call the death zone, a place where the human body can no longer adapt. And that's where the trail becomes something else entirely. Human impact. Near the summit lies an area nicknamed Rainbow Valley, not because of its beauty, but because of the colorful jackets of the climbers who died there. Red, blue, yellow, green, all still visible, years or even decades later. One of the most notorious is Green Boots, a climber wearing bright green boots, believed to be Tsewang Paljor, who died during a 1996 Indian expedition. His body was frozen in a fetal position in a small cave, and for nearly 2 decades, every climber passed him on their way up. Another is Frances Arsentieff, the first American woman to summit Everest without supplemental oxygen. She died alone during descent in 1998, later known as Sleeping Beauty, because of her eerily peaceful position in death. Her face was visible to all who passed. Perhaps the most chilling story is David Sharp, who died next to Green Boots in 2006. He was still alive when climbers passed him. More than 30 people walked past as he froze to death. Why? Because in the death zone, everyone is trying to survive their own descent. Many climbers report seeing at least one body on their journey. For some, these corpses are more than landmarks. They're warnings in the snow, quiet and undeniable. The mechanism behind it. So why are the bodies still there? The answer is brutal, because it's almost impossible to bring them back. Above 8,000 meters, the air contains only 1/3 the oxygen found at the sea level. Each step feels like lifting weights. Temperatures drop below -40 degrees Celsius, -40 degrees Fahrenheit, with winds over 100 kilometers per hour. A frozen human body weighs more, and moving one in that environment is so physically demanding, it could easily kill the rescuers. Rescues have been attempted, some costing over $100,000 per body. Some Sherpas have died trying to retrieve remains, so the bodies are left where they fall. Some are pushed off the main trail. A few are covered with rocks or flags, but all of them remain, frozen in time. Silent monuments to risk, ambition, and human limits. Injuries and individual stories. Most Everest deaths occur due to high-altitude pulmonary edema, HAPE, high-altitude cerebral edema, G-NOx, ACE, NIAC exhaustion and frostbite, falls and avalanches, running out of oxygen, disorientation, and hallucination. Some climbers reach the summit, but die on the way down. Others simply sit to rest and never get back up. The 1996 Everest disaster claimed the lives of guides Scott Fisher and Rob Hall, among others. Their stories became the basis for books and the 2015 film Everest. In 2012, Shreya Shah Chlorfine, a Canadian climber, reached the summit but didn't survive the descent. Her body remained in plain sight for 2 days before being retrieved in one of the most dangerous recovery efforts in Everest history. Recovery. To remove a body from the death zone requires 4 to 8 experienced Sherpas, anchoring gear, ropes, and a special stretcher, stable weather conditions, and accepting that someone might not make it back. That's why most families choose not to attempt recovery. Some bodies are left where they fell. Others are dragged away from the main path. A few are wrapped in prayer flags or covered with rocks as a final act of respect. On Everest, silence is the only funeral. Investigation and lessons. Mountaineers, doctors, and historians have studied these deaths to understand what went wrong and how to prevent future tragedies. But Everest is no longer reserved for elite climbers. Now, it attracts wealthy amateurs, some with minimal experience, driven by social media glory and personal ambition. In 2019, overcrowding on a brief weather window caused a traffic jam in the death zone. 11 people died in just 1 week. In 2025 so far, 5 climbers have died, 3 of them above 8,000 meters. A lower number than recent years, but a stark reminder that the risks remain ever present. And many of those deaths weren't due to falls. They were due to exhaustion, to decisions made too late, to refusing to turn back. Everest is the roof of the world, but also the highest graveyard on Earth. These frozen bodies aren't just remains, they are messages. Each one tells a story of ambition, of miscalculation, of human fragility. They don't speak, but they show. They show the cost of reaching the summit, and they remind us the summit is only halfway. Because up there, success isn't reaching the top, it's making it back down alive. Subscribe for more real stories that reveal what happens when the human body is pushed to its limit, and when the greatest danger isn't the mountain, it's the decision to keep climbing.